Hey everyone, welcome to the Juniper Links accounting channel. Today we're going to go over what is a confirmation statement. So this is when you're managing your own company and suddenly you get a notification that you need to file a confirmation statement and you're just like, what is that? Normally with our accounting service we would just handle all this for you so you don't have to worry about it, but it's not too big of a deal anyway. So I'll go through exactly what it is with you now and kind of tell you a little bit about how it works and what you need to do. Okay, so the first thing we need to determine is, do you need a confirmation statement? So these are only required once per year, but they are a legal requirement. So it's not a good idea to just ignore them. And I'll get into why a little bit later in the video. So all limited companies must complete a confirmation statement, and this was previously known as the annual return. What does it do? So what is the purpose of a confirmation statement? And basically it updates Companies House with all the current information about your company. So this includes information about the directors. You would need to make sure that the service address and the home address are right. If there's any errors in the name, you can of course file a separate document for that to update the information, and who the current shareholders are. So we got that one, current shareholders, and how many shares each shareholder has. So during the year you could file an allotment of shares to increase the total capital in the company, but then on the confirmation statement you would update which shares went to which shareholders. And it also makes sure that you can kind of check what the current records are for the company. So for example, what the registered office address is it right? The names of everyone, and also the PSC register, and if anyone needs to be added to it. So you can do all of this before the confirmation statement is done. And it all needs to be up to date before you actually submit it, because then you could be filing an incorrect confirmation statement, which it is possible to fix this. And if you're interested in that, just let me know in the comments below. I can link you to the forum that lets you do that. When do you actually need to complete the confirmation statement? So I mentioned once a year, but it's not like the same for everyone. It's usually 365 days, or basically 12 months after the company was first incorporated, and this repeats every year. So if the company, as an example, was incorporated on the 23rd of May 2017, the first statement would be available on the 22nd of May 2018. So it's exactly 1 year later, down by 1 day. And this repeats every year. So this is the first day you could actually submit your return. And you have 2 weeks after this to file it on time. This day would always stay the same unless while you're submitting the confirmation statement you change the statement date for some reason, and then going forward it would use the new date. So how much does it cost to actually file this confirmation statement? You wouldn't have thought there was any fee attached, but of course there is one. In order to process a statement for you, Companies House charges an online filing fee of £13. So this is once a year payment of £13, and that's it. And you can pay by PayPal, you can pay by credit card or debit card, whatever you want. So it's a fairly straightforward method online. Or you can send a paper statement for £40, and I guess because there's more processing involved and manual labour involved that they just hike up the price, and probably they also want you to switch to online systems instead because it's more convenient. So how do you actually submit the confirmation statement? So before you do anything, make sure that all of the information for your company is correct on Companies House. So if you moved during the year, if you did anything at all that changes, like the share structure, your home address, your service address, the registered office address, all of that information, then you want to get it updated before you submit the confirmation statement. So if you head over to the beta Companies House website, it will let you search the register for your company with either the name or the number. And once you find it, you click on it and see what information Companies House currently has. And if any of it is wrong, then you would need to actually go online onto a different section of Companies House to the web filing service. And I'm not sure why this link isn't highlighted, but it should be. So this here, and if you just go onto Google or something and just search for Companies House web filing, it should be one of the first links at the top that will link you to this page. And once you log in, and if you don't have an account, it's really easy to set one up. There will be a link right under the login page to register, and you can go ahead and register with that and get your login details. And once you do that, then in order to log in, you'd actually need two things. So your company number which you can actually easily find on the Companies House beta site. Just find your company's name basically, and the company number will be on that page. And you also need the authentication code. So this is a 6-character code. It could be something random like XX1122. I don't know. So it's basically a custom PIN number to log into your company, and this is sent to you when the company is first incorporated. So I'll get into how to find this in a little bit. But basically, if you have these 2 things, you can log into Companies House web filing and basically do anything you need for your company, such as changing directors' details, changing the registered office address. So all of those filings can be found online. There are only a few filings that you cannot do online, such as if you decided to transfer stocks between shareholders. So you need to do a stock transfer form and have that signed by the person giving away the shares, and there's a little bit more filing involved there from a legal perspective. You may want to get advice for that before going ahead, but most filings can be done online. Alright, so I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but what do you need to file a confirmation statement? So again, you would need a web filing account, and that's fairly easy. So you can type in this link here, or you can just go to the normal login page. So go to Companies House web filing in your preferred browser. One of the first links there will take you to the login page, and through there, just underneath, there will be a register button right under where it says to enter your username and password. So then you will need the company number. And again, that's really straightforward to find. Just go to the beta version of the Companies House website and you will find your company number. Or it can be found on the incorporation certificate for your company. So when it was first incorporated, they sent an incorporation certificate, and on there it will clearly state your company number. And finally, you need the Companies House web filing authentication code. This is a 6-character code, which is referred to as a PIN or password for your company to actually log into the website. So what if you have lost your Companies House authentication code? It's not a problem, don't freak out. So just check your previous correspondence from Companies House first, because when you first create a company, they will send a letter to your registered office address with the authentication code, and if your registered office address needs to be updated and you don't have your authentication code, this can cause a little bit of a problem. So what you would need to do in this case is actually update the office address with a paper form, send this off to Companies House, wait for the address to be updated, and then request an authentication code to your registered office address. If you have lost the code, then you can follow the steps below. So number 1 is to log into your web filing account. And again, if you don't have one, you can just make one. And then on the page headed, sign into a company. This is the very first page after you log in. It's literally like the home page of the site. Just find the link to request an authentication code. And this will be a link, again, right underneath where it asks you to enter in the company number and the authentication code. So you can click on that link and it'll take you to another page, and I'll show you what this looks like in a second here. Once you fill out the company number on the next page, because that's all it'll ask you for, then they'll send a reminder letter to the registered office address in 5 working days. So this is what the Companies House website looks like when you first log in. So it just has literally a box to enter in a number and a box to enter an authentication code. And then you have this option underneath to actually request the authentication code. So that's what you want to click. And then on the next page, it'll just ask for the company number, which is easily accessible online. Anyone can find it if they know your company name. So it shouldn't be too hard. And just if you're getting an issue, just make sure that the country is correct, because Scottish companies and such will have different company numbers. If they start with SC and then they have the numbers after, just make sure you delete the SC and just put in the numbers. What if I don't submit it on time? Companies House doesn't currently have a late filing penalty for late confirmation statements at the moment. Previously, the penalty was £100 though, so they may reinstate it at some point. I'm not sure. It depends what will happen. But the main thing that will happen is that they'll start trying to strike off your company from the register. They usually do send out a notification either by email or post. I wouldn't rely on it though, so just double check a year after your company was incorporated what they're looking for, because if you don't submit it, it could cause problems and they could start striking off. And obviously, if you don't want your company to be shut down, then it's best to stop this process before it's permanent. And of course, what if I never submit the confirmation statement? Well, Companies House will carry on with the strike-off process for you unless it's stopped. HMRC could intervene at this point if they think that your company owes any corporation tax or possibly VAT. So if they think there's any tax outstanding, basically they'll be coming after you and they won't want the company to be shut down, because at that point they can't chase the tax anymore. Unless there was some negligence by the directors. So that is something to be careful of. And this is a quote from the gov.uk website. Failure to file confirmation statements, annual returns, or accounts is a criminal offence which can result in directors being fined personally in criminal courts. They don't like it when you don't submit this information. The general attitude of Companies House, however, is just to start shutting down the company if they don't receive the confirmation statement on time. The entire process normally takes about 2 to 3 months to fully dissolve the company. And again, remember the confirmation statement will be fileable 12 months after the incorporation date, and this repeats every single year. I would just kind of make sure to file this if you don't want your company to disappear. So that pretty much wraps up the video. I mean, it's not too complicated of a form to file. It's recommend that you do file it because, as you can see, it is a criminal offence to not do so, and it's only done once a year, so it's not too much of a burden. And the form itself is fairly short if your company is straightforward. So if you've just got standards set up where you're the only director and shareholder, then all you'd have to do is check your own details. If it's a husband and wife company, all you'd have to do is check your details to make sure they're right and the shareholding matches what you actually thought it was. So all in all, it's not too bad. It's pretty straightforward. If I didn't miss anything out and something didn't make sense, then feel free to let me know in the comments section. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you found this video helpful, then please do hit that like button, and also consider subscribing to the channel with the notification bell option, because I will be putting out more videos like this to help make limited company management as simple as possible. Thanks so much for watching till the end of the video, and I hope you guys have a great day.